today we're going to talk about what 5G does for you. I know it could be a little different field, but most of you would be using 5G and saying, what is 5G? Why is it different from the previous technologies? And what can 5G do for your line of work other than just what you do on your phone as a user of 5G? You see, we have gone through industrial revolution, many industrial revolutions. It started with machines coming in, then it became electrified, and then the industrial revolution happened, and we all read about it. But for last few years, we are talking about the digital revolution. This is the industry 4.0 as we call it, where industries are now becoming more automated, and the use cases are where humans' work can become more efficient by some bit of automation. Now, this is which has spun off lot of applications, and you can say new use cases have come. Let's talk about any factory. If we talk about, we have cameras who can detect humans and can detect safety incidents, can detect security incidents, can really see how the machine is working. This all was not possible in the previous areas. So the endless possibilities of a connected world has come through this industry 4.0. When this industry 4.0 is happening, the technologies around us are also changing. We started with wireless technologies on 2G, 3G, 4G. All these technologies were basically meant for human to human connectivity. On the parallel, the other connectivities like fiber came in, where it allowed high-speed data transfer, but fiber then limited. It was a fixed place to a fixed place because you can't be mobile if you are using fiber as transmission. More and more devices start getting connected, and the technologies of 4G and Wi-Fi, which is prevalent, do not support so many connectivities. So there is a need of a new technology which was developing, especially for wireless. This is where 5G came in. While 2G, 3G, 4G technologies were meant for you and me to use in our day-to-day, I mean, that time we didn't even know. When 4G came, none of us knew what will we do with 4G. Now, most of us cannot live without 4G because our entertainment, our information, our e-banking, you can say e-commerce, everything works on 4G. If 4G was to shut off in India for, I think, not even a day, even few hours, we'll all have a catastrophic going on for individuals. But imagine this technology still falls short for what we need to do for the newer use cases. What are those newer use cases? Some we can talk about today, but some we will discover. Because when 4G came, nobody knew there will be Netflix, nobody knew there will be Amazon.com, nobody knew the music will move to Spotify or Wink. Nobody knew that I'll start paying using a QR code. That wasn't there. But all these applications developed. And I would believe that as Indians, we did not participate so much in creating these use cases. We are biggest users in the world of use cases, but we do not create. But 5G, I believe, is a place which we are now mature. We can create use cases which are created in India and used by the world. Because all the applications we use, other than the mobile banking applications where underlying system could be another platform, is where we are not really the developer as a country of this. But can we build 5G use cases? I believe we can, because we have leapfrogged into this technology earlier in the lifespan than what happened in 4G case. We have now almost ubiquitous 5G coming in India, industries getting covered, campuses getting covered. So whether you are a developer, you are an industry, you are an ecosystem player, you can participate in it and see how we can use this technology for us. 5G brings in a very different perspective than what 4G brought in. What are those different things? I think first of all, when we were in 3G world, I mean, many of you are young, so you would not have seen 3G world. I mean, only sending a picture was enough. But moment we moved to 4G world, we started watching high definition content on our mobile. And at one stage, 4G holds back. 4G cannot give you the same kind of experience because of the technology limitation. And then suppose if you want to put a wireless camera and you want to backhaul a 4K video, 4G can't do it. You will need a technology which can backhaul faster speeds. You want to have so many high usage in a common place, 4G can't use it. So 5G brings three different things which are different than 4G. I think the first is speed. I mean, if you are using 5G already, if you go and do a speed test, you can get in a good coverage 1 Gbps on average. What we are seeing for India now, after, because 1st October we launched 5G, average speed is around 300 Mbps, which used to be around 20-30 in 4G world. And so really speaking, speed is there. Latency you and me don't need for now. If you're a gamer, probably you need latency. But if you're not a gamer, online gamer, then probably you don't need latency. But imagine if you are trying to operate a crane, a high safety crane in a port, then you will need latency. Or you are trying to move a robotic arm doing some precision work, you will need latency, because when you want to move it, it should move. So there are latency sensitive use cases. People talk about all those poster boy applications like robotic surgery and all. In my mind, they are still some time away. But operating a wirelessly monitored crane in a port or in a mine which is otherwise unsafe for human beings, to operate a robot in a hazardous environment which could be chemically hazardous, it could be physically hazardous, where we would not advise a human to go. But operating that robot, you will need a technology which is reliable and has lower latency. 5G fills that gap. But before Industry 4.0, we were not even thinking of those use cases, because we did not have robots which could move. We did not have robots which could have done the use cases. We're sending humans there. So the possibilities of doing those relatively unsafe things with robots gets unleashed moment you use 5G as a technology to control that robot. Last is concurrency. We do not see IoTs. We are sitting in this room. We may not have very few IoTs, but imagine this could become a smart auditorium where the lighting, the air conditioning could be controlled, and many things could be more controlled in a smart home, smart factory, using IoTs. So then you will need many IoTs. In our house, when we started our Wi-Fi networks, we used to have 4 or 5 users, and Wi-Fi used to work fine. But now every person who lives in our house has probably 5 or 7 Wi-Fi connected devices. There is a watch, there is a phone, there is a laptop, there is an iPad, there could be a Alexa, there could be a smart TV, and there are so many of such connected. The moment so many devices get connected, imagine it becomes over a physical area which is not an indoor like Wi-Fi. 4G technology cannot do that. Even if you use technologies which are meant for IoT like NB-IoT. So 5G fills in the gap where you can have millions of connected devices in a 5G area, because technology is meant for this. So 3 pillars of 5G: high speed, low latency, and mass concurrency. Because of the high speed, cloud comes in play. Because cloud today, you will need to talk to a cloud real time. Let's say if you are, there are 2 kind of conversations with cloud. One is a cloud when you are streaming a video. Let's say you are streaming a video on online video. There the cloud is controlling the speed to you, so you don't feel the buffering. But if you're doing a real time, if the real time service gets buffered, you will feel it. If it's voice or a Zoom call or something, I think it's gone up. So you will feel it. And if you're doing an application, let's say your real application is located on cloud, then you will need a high speed and low latency, because then you can work seamlessly. Otherwise, you will keep coming back onto that. So cloud computing starts to play when you start doing edge play. I want to give you another example. What 4G can do for 5G can do for us. Imagine right now the laptops you use. I mean, you guys would be using a very expensive laptop. They are like a lakh and a half, because you will need a higher RAM, higher ROM, and higher processor, and much faster response. But not everybody can afford that laptop, right? Imagine if you could keep everything in the cloud. All the applications reside in the cloud, all the processing happen in the cloud, but you are using just what we call dumb terminal in earlier terminology, and you are just having an interface, and you have a Wi-Fi, high-speed Wi-Fi 6 kind of application, not Wi-Fi 5, or a 5G kind of application where you are connecting to cloud as seamlessly as if it is resident on your own device. Then believe me, the price of that device will become only $300 to $400, which means 20 to 30,000 rupees. Look at the power of this. It can become a social inclusion tool Today, our rural villages cannot have laptops for all students because who will afford a lakh rupee laptop for a student? But imagine a dumb terminal which is 20,000-30,000 rupees, and if India scale comes in, it could be even lower. And you have everything residing on a cloud. Imagine the power of it. You'll have a connected device, high-speed connected device in everybody's hand. So these are the kind of applications which can come in picture, and then when you start developing an end user application, you can use these underlying technologies and possibilities to create those possibilities. So there, in my mind, there are three pillars. 5G is not just 5G fits one part of the jigsaw, but there is IoT and there is AI. If you put AI and cloud in the same way, which completes the trifecta. You need a connectivity that is low latency, high speed. 5G fills that gap. But you also need a IoT, a sensor which will send you the device. We sometimes don't feel it because we don't see it around us. I give you another example. I was talking to a guy who operates the windmills. Now windmills are not monitored because windmills are put in a remote, we see in remote India where you see windmills, especially which they are, you can say, conducive to wind energy. This guy used to have a windmill breakdown and not know what is happening. He redesigned the old windmills to have so many sensors on, maybe 10-20 sensors on the windmill, all the across, so that he can monitor the health of the windmill. Moment he put it, he could actually proactively see that this windmill needs maintenance, and he could fix it, and he did not lose the windmill after that, and his uptimes were higher. I know about a factory worker who used old machines, but they were not built for IoT, but then they retrofitted IoT and the machines could work well. So this IoT is going to come around us. Like if we want to count how many people are in this room, you could have sensors under each chair. It will automatically tell you. We see in parkings you have sensors. If you have sensors in all parking, you can imagine as you get into a crowded parking, it can guide you where is the empty parking rather than you driving around. So the possibilities are endless once you start talking about connected world. And the third pillar of this is AI, and you can say AI or cloud, because all this information which the IoT is sending is going to a cloud. And then you massage this data and see different use cases. I live in Delhi, Bangalore, they are so famous for traffic. Imagine you can do traffic engineering using analysis. Today, I think a very crude method happens, but if you can put smart cameras on all the busy junctions and read all the vehicles going through and build a model and say, what is the best model, what kind of traffic routing we should do, and you can route the traffic, I would imagine that we as commuters will have a more smoother ride than what it is today. Because Google does help us by saying which is the route, but if dynamically it changes, we don't know. Till the number of users go there. I read about a Google experiment where a person put 100 phones in a human pulled cart, and he walked over a bridge, I think in Vienna or something, and the bridge became red because there were 100 Google map users going through, and it looked like busy, and all the cars were routed to different directions and the bridge was empty, because this is eventually a crowdsourced data. But if you can do a real-time data and process, you can do different kind of methodologies. So eventually in all these use cases we talk about, these three pillars come in: connectivity, IoT, and AI or machine learning or cloud, where all this data is stored and processed. And I think this will spin off more and more use cases around efficiency, safety, newer use case, and things like that. We use it in our company a lot. We have 350 million customers. How do you process the analytics of 350 million customers? So we use a lot of data, less of IoT right now, because for us it comes from the measurement reports, the mobiles send it, but there are a lot of things which we can do with this use case. Well, this is a good slide of saying what could be the possibilities. There is human to human, there is human to machine, and there is machine to machine. Really speaking, the possibilities, what can happen in our world, are unimaginable. You have a use case where you use a high-speed broadband. It could be video meetings. We all got used to Zoom calls during COVID. We were all used to physical meetings and this thing. But sometimes we felt No, I mean, at least I was the one who felt, no, physical meetings are better. So I would, when it opened up, I wanted to go to office and have physical meetings. But then if the meetings could be more immersive, I would imagine one day Meta will come in and we will have a little bit more immersive way of interacting with humans. And at that stage, you will need a high-speed connectivity. And that is where a high-speed connectivity will come. Well, in your home, you can use a fiber. But if you are on the go, you will need 5G to make that immersive connect happen. And all of us, I mean, I use a lot when I'm on the road. I try to do Zoom calls to catch up on the things I have to catch up. And I think sometimes on some crowded areas, it does happen that your Zoom call doesn't work, and then we all say, video band kar lo, or something like that. So I think we can try these things, but 5G makes it all easy. If we talk about massive connectivity, we talked about it, but I will believe this is just keep on increasing more and more. Video monitoring, I used a use case where a factory was going physical, and they didn't know how to call out people who are not wearing masks. So they just put cameras who could detect a human being without a mask, and they used to pop up rather than a human eye looking at all the screens and detecting guys who's not. I looked at a factory where there was a machine which had a red line. You shouldn't cross that red line because it was probably dangerous if the machine was running. They put a camera who used to detect anybody crossing the red line and used to start beeping. It's a safety use case. They would probably have much lower, incidents. So my belief is that these use cases are endless. Possibilities are endless. We don't know of half of the uses which will come. But we can create together these use cases, both as a consumer or as a builder or as a community where these use cases can be used in factories, homes, life, entertainment, or whatever. Public safety, these will play a lot of big roles. Remote surgery, I'm not so yet confident, but today remote surgery, what happens is where the surgeon is with you, but instead of using his hands, he's using a remote, but it is physically controlled by him. So basically you sense, you connect, and then you apply these use cases. I think these are the pillars which happens where you can use these three technologies together. Well, I understand today is a developer conference. A lot of you are wanting to try. We come to cover some entrepreneurs who want to test out. They have a thought they want to test out. They say, what can we do? But they don't know because they can't test on a public network. Maybe they can test connectivity on a public network, putting a SIM both sides, but they may like to have more, maybe APIs coming from the network to tell them that we want to connect. So in our mind, we have a very strong lab in Manesar where people can come and test if they want to. There are a lot of startups in Bangalore, for example, who want to test their use cases, and they do work with us once we cross a particular this thing to say, hey, you can come and connect with us and we can do testing together. You want to do a POC on a live network where you need some network connectivity. Yes, we do POCs on live network. These POCs which I've shared with you are all done on live networks of Airtel. Sometimes use case, some data is needed. We do not expose this data of our customers. Even our own employees don't get to have this data of the customers. But sometimes this could be a good use case. I give you a role we played during COVID when the immigration happened, internal immigration, where people moved back to their home states from different states. There was a crisscross. Even in Bangalore, we saw Bangalore became empty and rest of Karnataka got really busy because people really went out from city living to back to their hometowns during COVID. And governments were concerned of where are the people going? Where should we be concentrating our relief efforts? The only way to know was how the mobiles are moving. Where are the mobiles moving? So really speaking, these kind of use cases were very useful. We were working with Niti Yog and this thing, because at the national level, government wanted to know which corridors people are moving through, where we can avail medical facilities. This data is today possible because every human being is connected. And this data is very valuable. So my mind is the possibilities are endless. We even didn't think of this data till this thing happened, and then we can actually use. And of course, we have an accelerator program where few startups, when they come to a certain level and they want to scale, Airtel does participate with them to give them a platform to scale. There are some startups from Bangalore itself where we can do. So my belief is We are a B2C and a B2B company where we have set up a very large scale ecosystem to give our services, but this is the ecosystem where all the other services reside. So we work closely with gaming guys who want to launch their gaming. We work closely with IoT guys. So why not we work closely with people who have ideas, want to try it out. Yesterday I met a young engineer into our office. He was trying to figure out how we can juxtapose the data of a Wi-Fi and a mobile and an application and see how we can add value to a user possible. So I would say the possibilities are endless, and Airtel is here to support you. And if you think you have an idea and you want to try it out, or at least nothing else, you want to discuss whether it is possible or not, because we run the technology, you may have ideas we could make together. So we welcome you to connect to us using any of the various social medias we have to come and talk to us and see how can we use this technology, how can I build my use case, how can I improve my use case using 5G, cloud, AI, IoT, whatever interests you. Thank you.